Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Collateral Damage. My name is Mike Wilson. I'm here with my co-host and friend, Maureen Kavanaugh. Hi, Maureen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
So today we have the Soupman.
The Soupman.
The Soupman. This is
Everybody loves the Soupman.
So Peter Kelleher, a.k.a. the Soupman, started this project in Bridgewater. And has crossed state lines and is now affecting change up in Maine, where, as he'll tell us in his story, is where he lost his son. Yeah. And I know that was what kind of inspired him to do this. So, and now you introduced me to the Soupman. How did you hear about the Soupman?
I saw an article on, I guess there's been quite a few articles, but I saw an article on Facebook about how he was bringing, I think, a portable shower up to Maine.
Okay.
So he does that too.
Yeah, raising money for portable showers. That's right.
I thought this would be perfect to, because I love when people do things like this, and I love talking about this because there's so many people dealing with so much loss. And It reminds me of this quote that I tried to find who wrote it, or who said it, and I can't remember. It's, I love when people that have been through hell walk out of the flames carrying buckets of water for those still consumed by the fire. And that's what this reminded me of,
Right.
Here's this man that lost his beautiful son, heartbroken. And instead of curling up in a ball, which I'm fairly sure I would do, he carried on in his name and is doing beautiful things by feeding people and he said gave it how many socks he gives out.
Oh, I mean, I'm looking at the numbers here on his site. I mean, it's the numbers are staggering. Let's see. He's got giving out boots, socks. He's partnered up with Ocean State Job Lot Charitable Foundation. I mean, he's handing out quite enough to keep people's feet warm. At least I know that.
And just hope too that somebody cares about them. When you're in the street and you don't ever. And I know what it's like not to have a roof over my head. I've unfortunately been in that situation, and you feel like nobody cares about you. And it's talk. There's some low points in life. That's a big one. You're homeless, but so to be able to do that, to carry on and in his son's memory and do these beautiful things, I think is just had to be talked about.
The pain of loss transformed in the passion to help, right? Amazing thing. Well, without further ado, let's get him on here. Here is the Soupman. So thank you for joining us, Peter. I appreciate it. Very nice to have you on today.
I appreciate the invitation.
Of course. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about your situation and what you've been doing up in Maine, and what kind of led you to that. So hopefully you can help our listeners understand.
I'm actually just traveling into Maine. I live in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. I'm from Maine.
Oh, okay.
How it all started for me is I lost a son to opiates.
Oh man.
I knew I was going to get the phone call. I just didn't know when.
And how long ago was that, Peter?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. And what's his name?
Travis Kelleher.
Travis.
Handsome, smart, loving. He just carried the demon.
And this happened up in Maine?
Yes. Yeah. Bangor, Maine. I was in Bridgewater, Mass. And I got that phone call. His mother called me and told me he was gone. And I said, where is he now? Is he back in jail? Where is he? And she says, no, Peter, he's gone.
Oh.
And I took care of took care of the arrangements, and we had a little funeral, and that was that. And I was miserable, like any parent would be. I didn't do enough. It was my fault. It was this. It was that. And in all reality, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't his mother's fault. It wasn't his.
No, that's not how it works. If it worked like we could fix it, right? I think sometimes we like to take the responsibility because then we think then we could blame ourselves. But unfortunately, that's not the way it works.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's perfectly natural to, as a parent in a situation like that, to look back what I could have done, what I should have done. How could I have prevented this?
I did that for a long time, and I just banged my head, and then it just, I saw the light. I've got to do something. So it was a cold October day, and I said, well, I'm going to make some soup. I'm going to bring it to the homeless, and they're going to like it.
Did they? Did they enjoy the
They
soup?
did.
Yeah.
They did.
Where'd you start this project out?
I first made a soup station for the back of my truck so it wouldn't slide around.
Okay.
And that took me about an afternoon. And that's next Saturday morning, I put together a pressure cooker, 32 quarts of hot Hamburg soup, and out the door I went.
Wow.
Where did you go first? Were you up in Maine or were you?
Brockton, Massachusetts.
Brockton. Okay, very nice.
Another much needed community. You know what I mean? A place where people definitely need help.
We do a lot for Brockton.
So you found a fairly significant homeless population.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was doing it as I did it every week. I did it every weekend, every Saturday, faithfully.
Oh, so they could count on you.
Yeah, then they started calling saying, hey, the Soupman is here. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then I was out there about 6 weeks into it, and there was a lady that pushed me over the top that didn't have a hat or gloves on.
Oh.
I gave her mine, and I went home and put my picture on Facebook and said, hey, I'm doing soup for the homeless. I need some hats and gloves and socks, and let's wrap them. I'll bring them out for Christmas, and we'll pass them out as gifts.
Wow. Did you get a good response? Did you get a lot of people interested?
I had such a response that we had to unwrap everything because we didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
We were getting stuff from all over the United States, believe it or not.
Wow.
And we had so much stuff that we had to put them in backpacks. So we started filling backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
People started sending me money, and I didn't want any money. I told everyone I didn't want any money. I didn't want anyone to think I was building a house.
Mm-hmm.
And then this gentleman that got a hold of me started a Facebook page for me, support the Soupman, and a friend of his gave me $2,500, and then that guy, a lawyer friend, and he gave $2,500 again, and it just started to snowball, and we haven't stopped since.
So Support the Soupman is the nonprofit that you started based on all these donations that you were getting, right?
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We had to do something. So a lawyer friend of a friend started a 501(c)(3) at no charge, and we paid for the paperwork, which was very minimal, $50-$60.
Right.
And then off we went. Where we have taken it, I have a unbelievable board of directors.
Okay.
Unbelievable. I mean, just in the last 3 months, we passed out over $18,000 worth of backpacks.
Wow. And so these backpacks have supplies in them?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They're all the products new.
Okay.
Gloves, socks, hats, toiletries.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
so you're equipping them to survive.
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
But Ocean State Job Lot has really jumped in to help us. They're an incredible partner.
Mm-hmm.
In the last few weeks, they gave me 18,000 baseball caps, and I have someone that's going to support the Soupman. We'll sell them $5 a piece. We'll give some out to the children because we have small caps available too.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, if we can step back, that I have a school bus.
I see a picture here on the website, the big red school bus that says the Soupman on it, right?
Yeah. I'm actually picking up another one next week. It's a smaller bus that we're going to do barbecue, hamburgers, hot dogs, popsicles, and pass out toiletry bags.
That's great.
I'm getting a charter bus in the fall that we'll make into an emergency shelter that we can go into Boston or wherever we go.
Wow.
And pull people off the street at night.
I wonder if this is a scenario where now that Narcan is that there's generic versions of Narcan available, and there's so many individuals near other people who might need Narcan, if this might be an opportunity to help disseminate that, to get it out into the streets and into the hands of the people that might be around the next person that might overdose as a homeless individual, right?
We can do anything.
Okay.
There's no limit to what you or I or anybody can do.
Mm-hmm.
Already past that stage that we can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
All it takes is a little willpower. Travis happens to be my strength, and he's my passion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's endless. I mean, we brought this to the point now that my fourth bus down the road is a dream, but it's going to be reality.
Mm-hmm.
Will be a medical and dental
Oh, wow.
bus. And we are coming out with, believe it or not, a food line. We met with a food. Oh, this is crazy.
What's the name of the food line? What is it going on?
It will be support the Soupman foods. We'll have hamburger soup with chicken, noodle, vegetable. SOS. Everyone in the military's had that. Everything from Sunnydale Foods. We met with them. We flew down last week. We met with them. It's a done deal.
Wow! Congratulations. That's huge.
We have stores that are going to take it, and we have a couple big. It's nuts.
Wow!
People are coming to me.
Well, that's what happens when you do something with your heart, and you really want to do the right thing. It just snowballs.
You couldn't make bad of this if you wanted to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you started a movement. You got people excited about, helping people. And I mean, people just need they need a way to do it. They need a conduit for their kindness. And it seems like you've created.
I didn't like people. I didn't like the drug dealers. I didn't like the people that hung around with them. I didn't like anybody at the end of this. But as I grow today, I love people. People helping people is pretty simple. It's something I say constantly. If you've been on our Facebook page, that's almost up to about 4,500 people.
Wow.
Growing every day, 25, 50 people.
And what's the Facebook page? What's the name of the group?
Support the Soupman.
Support the Soupman. And they just search right there on Facebook and they can find that group?
Yeah, you can see how we spend our money every day. And that's big.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of nonprofits out there. You can't see where they're spending their money. There's no big salaries here. Never will be.
Yep.
We won't be one of those preachers that you just saw on TV on a $50 million plane. Can you imagine the people we could help with that? How many showers we could buy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about that, Peter. I saw that you had portable showers.
Yes, we're going to have a shower in every major city in New England. Mark my words. This is going to happen. We bought the first shower about a month ago. I'll be handing the keys over to the mayor, hopefully, and 2 nonprofits in the next few weeks. I'm on tour with it now into Maine because Bangor's getting the next one. Portland will have a shower. Hopefully by then we'll have our food line up, our coffee line on the shelves, and we're also doing something else is Foodman Essentials. You buy a backpack, you give a backpack.
That would be a partnership with some of the stores that are selling the backpacks, right?
This is all part of what we do.
Okay.
This will be our own little support the Soupman Essentials.
Okay.
And what happens, there are other companies that do that, but they buy their backpacks from China, real cheap. We're going to be making. I think it's very important that we have our product is made in the United States.
Okay.
So we're going to have our backpacks will be sewn and made in Eastern Massachusetts. They're going to be more expensive, but what's going to happen, they'll buy a backpack, but what we'll do is we'll give 3 or 4 or 5, we haven't got to figure it out, but this is happening. We'll buy the backpacks that we use out on the streets. So they'll be buying a nice backpack, and we'll be replacing it with what we use.
Yep.
For our homeless friends. And then we'll have a blanket, buy a blanket, give them a blanket. Those are all going to be made in the United States.
Wow.
Got another company doing it.
I love your attitude. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It's happening now.
It is happening, exactly.
I had a full-time job with a doggy daycare, and that's gone. I am on salary, $350 a week.
Yep. Hey, you got to survive. You got to eat. I mean, you can have a passion, you can have a drive, but you got to eat.
I made pretty good money with the doggy daycare. This is peanuts.
Yeah.
But I don't need any money. I don't want any money. All I want to do is make people, is help people.
Yeah.
These people don't want to be in the streets.
No.
It's
interesting. I've actually been homeless in Portland before. I've lived on the streets in Portland, and it's, luckily the area, the city is very kind to the homeless population, and there are not a lot of cities that are like that. I've been homeless in other towns too, and
everybody's got them labeled, bums, useless. That's not how it is.
No,
some of the nicest people I've ever met are on the streets.
Yeah,
they're just like you and I.
Yeah.
you know, and I get so pissed when people say, "Oh, the bums or this or that." Or, oh boy.
Well, and there's so many reasons that people might end up homeless too. I mean, we just went through back in, what was it, 2008, 2009, the housing crisis.
Right.
You know, when everything collapsed, I think there were a lot of people that were ending up in homeless shelters that may still be homeless today, that weren't able to bounce back from a significant catastrophe. These weren't bad people, you know.
No, they're you know, a drug addict doesn't want to be a drug addict, but there aren't a lot of drug addicts on the streets. Everybody lives paycheck to paycheck. So many. You know, this woman that I was telling you about earlier, that is where it put me over the edge, was this woman could have been my mother. Somebody's mother. And I felt so bad for this. Where's her kids?
This is the woman that you gave the hat and the gloves to kind of kick that off. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just felt terrible. You know, some people just don't have a heart.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do. Everyone has a heart. Some people just don't care.
Well, not a lot of people would take it upon themselves to do all that you've done, for sure. You know, I think this is really when people have a painful situation, a lot of people settle into it and they don't know what to do with themselves. Yeah. You've certainly made a terrible, terrible thing into a beautiful memorial to your son.
I have, and you know, I grin ear to ear every day because of what I do and what we're doing. But in all reality, I lost a son. He's my passion. He's my drive. That I loved him. His mother loved him. His grandmother loved him. But we loved him. He was smart, big blue eyes, handsome boy. He was just, he got sucked in by the demon.
Yeah. No, that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. Is that, you know, I, like you, have a daughter that struggled for years and years. And thank God right now she's sober. But I love my daughter and I took care of her, and I was she was everybody's favorite child. You know, she was just awesome. It's got nothing to do with that, you know, and that's what people don't understand.
They were once our little babies.
That's right. That's right.
I never hear a story from a parent or family member about how their child was a bad person that ended up doing drugs. You know, there's a child there, there's a family member there, there's somebody that they love that ended up in this dark place against their own better judgment. You know, if it was up to them, they wouldn't have done it.
People are dying. Kids are dying from doing one drug.
Right.
They don't have any idea what's in it. They do it. They're dead. We're losing a generation. Yeah. You know, I don't want to get into politics, but I'm telling you, there's going to be some serious stuff done. We know where most of the drugs are coming in from. Other borders are closed.
Yeah, it's tough because, you know, if you consider the supply and demand argument, you know, I mean, that if we cut off the supply, which is, I think we've been trying to do that for a long time, for decades.
No one's really ever done it, tried. They play with it. They play with it. It's never going to end. It's never going to end.
Well, it's where all the funding goes. All the funding goes to, like, the DEA and stuff like that. All the funding goes towards preventing it from getting in. Whereas there are some other countries where all of the funding goes towards treating the issues, treating the demand, the reason why people use, and treating it like a public health issue. And I think that's where, you know, as a country politically, I would love to see the funds diverted and people spending more time focusing on the why.
Right. You know, it's past that. You got to do something. Whatever it is, we've got to act. We've got to act. There's millions and millions of dollars worth of drugs coming across the borders.
Yeah. So, Peter, if you were going to make one small change that was going to, you know, if you could affect one small change, because I know you're like me, you want to change everything. But we can only change small things at a time, and you're doing that yourself. But if you would like to see one thing change, what would it be?
That's a hard question to answer. I know that's just such a hard question to answer because it's so big and big. If I could just change how people think of the homeless.
Okay.
That's pretty simple. But it's not, everything we're doing is big. I don't think little. I think big. Yeah. And if we're going to have a shower in one city, we're going to have in every city in New England. You know, if I'm going to sell peanuts to get some gloves, I'm going to have a food line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this can be done. And we have some very, very smart, intelligent people helping. This is all going to be done, and it's all going to help the homeless. I promise I won't be riding around on a Rolls Royce. This is, or a $50 million plane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't picture you doing that.
So let me ask you, can I ask a question? So, I mean, if it sounded like you said that you want to, you know, impassion people about, you know, the homeless population, to give them some understanding that, or to humanize them, right? To help people understand or change their perspective about them. Is there, through your social media and stuff like that, or through your actions, are there testimonials from some of the people whose lives have been changed? Is there a place where people can witness this? Because I mean, watching videos, that's and on social media, that's what people are, they're making their opinions, right?
Well, you know that we bring people right off the streets. I mean, there was a couple a few weeks ago that the gentleman was starting a job.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have any clothes. I brought him to the Walmart. We got him clothes for the week. You know, when I go into Bangor, Maine, there's a Hope House. It's like a halfway house.
Mm-hmm.
I will see that everyone in there has new sneakers that needs them. This is what we do. We passed out hundreds of pair of boots in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thousands of pair of socks. That socks are the most wanted things on the streets.
Yeah, they are.
And I think everyone should be able to put on a clean pair of socks and take a shower.
I'm gonna tell you right now, when I was homeless up in Portland, that was my go-to. Like, I would actually go to stores downtown and they would give us socks.
Yeah.
You know, some of like the clothes stores would just give us socks, but I mean, you had to go in and ask and kind of beg. But it is definitely it's one of the things that people overlook, just having a nice, fresh, clean pair of socks to put on.
There's a lot more we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And there really is. And I mean, everybody's got boots in their closet.
Mm-hmm.
Just bring them to you don't have to give them to me. I'd like to have them. But that you can bring them to your shelter. Everyone has sneakers in their closet that they're not wearing. Bring them to your local shelter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why hoard this shit?
Right. So, I mean, that sounds like something that, you know, the average person could do. You know, the person that maybe doesn't have a lot of money or doesn't have the ability to necessarily go out and create a huge impact. They could just go in their own closet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, just go in their closet, take a pair of boots, bring them down to the shelter, or just go out on the streets and say, what size do you wear? Anyone wear a size 6, 6.5, 9?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you give them to somebody that's got holes in their shoes. We had taken someone off the street in the middle of the winter that wearing clogs with a pair of socks on. We picked her right up, put her in the vehicle, and brought her to Walmart.
Wow.
But we do more than the homeless, too. Now, we just bought 12 mattresses in all the bedding for new veterans house in Taunton.
Oh, wow. In Taunton, you said?
Yeah, in Taunton,
wow.
Mass.
Okay.
And we will continue to do what we do.
So now is that a shelter?
Yeah, it's a brand new veterans home, and they needed to fill it up. And they didn't have any mattresses, so we stepped up to the plate and we bought 12 mattresses,
great.
bedding, and a whole 9 yards.
They must have been very grateful.
They were.
Yeah.
And you know, once we get the food line going, that the SOS that will be called Barracks 22, and we'll give a proceeds to that barrack, to that.
Wow.
To that. We'll my food products going out there, and the coffee's going out there to do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's huge money to do what we do.
It's amazing what you do. And now you're focusing in the New England area, correct? Right now? Okay. Are there other organizations or nonprofits that provide similar services across the country? Have you looked at?
Yeah, I'm sure, but that's a tricky thing too.
Yeah.
You know, dealing with other nonprofits. You know, it's really, you have to be in the business. You have to be. This is a business,
right?
And it's run like a business.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start trying to get close to other nonprofits, they put their walls up. I will help anybody. I will work with anybody I can do, but some of them just don't want to because they don't want to let their contacts out where they're getting their money. What's going on here? It's bullshit.
Yeah, that's the business side of it, right?
You know,
Yeah.
The young lady that you're sitting next to, I couldn't believe her story. She's taking people off the streets. She's putting them in rehab.
Mm-hmm.
I want to partner with her. I want to find out what she's doing. I want to be able to hand her, send her a check once a month, so we can make sure those people are going into rehabs that want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I want a part of this. I want to be a part of it. I want to help. I want to do anything I can do to help. I
feel like a partnership is being born here.
I'm just so impressed with everything. I love when somebody just goes forward and makes the best of something awful. And I think that so many wonderful things are created out of that nonprofits.
I lost a son, and I loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And we had our moments. He's my passion. He's my drive. I loved him.
He was a person, and he mattered. And I think that's the disconnection that a lot of people have, is they don't see the people struggling as people.
I think, Peter, that he continues to do good things through you. But would you like to talk about who he was a little bit?
He was a little shithead. Oh, he was charming. He was handsome. He was a kid one time. He was my son. He had a mother. He had a grandmother that loved him.
Yep.
There's more to this pie. Anybody's kid, anybody that's going through what everyone's gone through, it's wrecked their house. It wrecks their house. It's he wasn't. It's evil. It's just evil.
There's nothing more painful than watching your child self-destruct.
And I wasn't a good father. He came from a broken home. Her and I went separate ways. I do live with guilt every day. And this is, I think, why I strive to do so much, is because there is guilt there. But he is my passion. I loved him. I talked to him 3 days before he died. He called me for a recipe. It wasn't because we loved each other.
Yeah.
Whatever we had for a relationship, we had because of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bring every drug addict to your house.
No.
Because they probably have robbed you or what have you, have taken everything in value.
Yes.
And it's not because they hate you.
Right.
It's because they just need what they need to feel better and to kill the pain they're going through. And let me tell you, the kid went through some shit. I found out that after he died, that I didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got a story.
Yeah.
Some are worse than others.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a story.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a story.
Well, your story is very passionate, and I applaud you for your efforts. I mean,
thank you. And all I have to say to the people that, if you don't want to help me, get out of my way.
I love it. That's fantastic.
I love that. That's awesome, Peter.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you talking. If somebody wanted to donate to you, if somebody wanted to, how would they find you?
We have a beautiful, beautiful website that's been, the Shields is put together out of Plymouth, Mass. It's www.supportthesoupman.org. It is an incredible website. And we're on Facebook as well, Support the Soupman. If you haven't seen the website, it's very touching. We have kids coloring bags. We do 100 brown bag lunches every Saturday with the soup. Kids are coloring the bags. The Girl Scouts are giving us cookies.
That's awesome.
Now that's cookies. Girl Scout cookies, man. That's a treat.
Listen to this. They were selling Girl Scout cookies, and they said, if you don't want to buy them for yourself, buy them for the Soupman. And they gave me 40 cookies.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
We have our elders in nursing homes doing toiletry bags, and they're getting pissed at us. They want them to keep doing them.
Yeah. Just give them some of those Girl Scout cookies. They'll love it.
Nuts.
Oh, that's so great.
So it sounds like Support the Soupman support the Soupman on Facebook, support the Soupman on their website. We'll post all the details on our Facebook post so that people can find these links and take some action. It sounds like, whether if you can donate. It sounds like if you have something, in your closet, if your kids have outgrown their clothes, it sounds like, that there's a great opportunity to help a less fortunate person.
We're not really doing much with clothes.
No, okay.
We are doing T-shirts, sweatshirts. We do winter coats.
Okay.
In the winter.
And boots.
And all that information is on your website?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Drop-off locations. You can mail a check in if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Give us anything online. But you can donate online. www.supportthesoupman.org.
I'm in. I'm supporting the Soupman.
Right now, you need to get a hold of me because we need to talk on this program you're doing, because there's no reason you and I can't work together.
I would love to work with you, Peter.
I love it.
We can move the world.
Partnerships are born.
Absolutely. All right, I'll be calling you. I'll definitely be calling you.
Thank you so much. You take care.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Being on. I appreciate it, Peter. Thank you for all that you do.
Toodaloo.
All right, bye now.
Bye. Well, that was really good, wasn't it?
That was good. I really, he's a funny guy.
You gotta love
for such a tragic story.
Yeah.
It was heartfelt, and I know that just having him talk about it and sharing it was just hard to watch, and hard to hear. And I know it was just tough all around. But for him to take that and to do this and have so much passion, and to be able to just give back. I mean, I don't know. I felt inspired.
I know. Well, something, you do the same thing. You spend a lot of your time giving back. And I know now I didn't tell you I was going to say that. So you're going to get all verklempt.
Is my face red? Can you tell?
No, but I mean, you raise money for scholarships for sober living. You do a lot in the community to give back. And and so do I. It's just one of these things where I don't know. I don't do it because of my daughter. I do it because of all the people that I know that aren't here anymore. Right. And I don't want anybody to ever have to feel like that. And if I could even help anybody from feeling like I did, that's why I do it. And I'm sure why do you keep going when you could, I'm sure, do lots of things in your life? What made you choose to do this? That's
a good question. So when I originally started my company back in 2009, or 2008, actually, it was because I saw that there were a lot of families out there like mine who didn't have a guide. They didn't have a person. They didn't have someone on their side. Everything was focused on me as the addict, the person that needed services. And so, I felt like it was my responsibility to step in and try to provide support. And so in doing so, then it was like, all right, somebody needs to do this full time. There needs to be services around this. And so it just became, the path that my higher power chose for me, I guess, is the best way that I can say it. I mean, I didn't intend for it to become what it is today. My pain, my experience led me into it, and it became what it became based on the needs that existed. And I imagine it's the same for Peter. He went through what he went through, and he, showed up with soup intending just to help, and probably didn't see this company or this nonprofit organization, Support the Soupman, as becoming what it became today, but ultimately just went with it. Right. Saw the need. The need drove him, and the position was created for the Soupman. Nobody knew the Soupman was needed until the Soupman started. Yeah. Yeah. So. And same with you. I mean, what led you into it? Well, I mean, it wasn't your daughter. What led you? It was the. It's funny because in 2012 I incorporated Magnolia New Beginnings, and that was before anything had happened with Katie. It was before she started using, and the intention was to provide a fresh start or a new beginning to anybody that, for whatever reason, needed a little bit of help. And I was teaching English as a second language in a community action agency, and I saw lots of people that needed just a little bit of a leg up, and I had been in that situation in my own life before, where I started a cleaning company at one point, and to get that first $500 to get all the paperwork done and to get some vacuums and stuff, it was the hardest thing to do. And as soon as I had that,
Well, then it grew and grew and grew, and I actually wound up selling it in order to come to Massachusetts. So,
Mm.
I mean, there's lots of people out there that could do a lot if they
Right.
were given a little bit of help. But then after my daughter, got involved in drugs, and I started to see what was happening, and fortunately, she had me, and she had her father to help us. Her, but I saw lots of people working so hard, but unable to get into a sober house after treatment, and then they were back out to the street or back out to that couch that they were living on before all this happened.
Mm.
So I said, well, that's something I can do something about. That and bringing people together, which is the other thing that Magnolia does. And we have about
Right.
25,000 people now. We've been saying 20, but it's more than that. It just keeps growing. People in these close support groups supporting each other. So it was all about seeing gaps. I
Mm.
mean, and kind of also, I guess it's very similar to the same thing.
Well, those are pioneers, people who see those gaps and like, hey, you know what? Somebody needs to do something. And, looks like I am somebody. So
Well,
it's going to happen.
that thing that you posted last week? No one's coming.
No one's coming for us. It's up to us. Yeah. No one's
Yeah.
coming. It's up to us.
So,
I actually saw that was it was a meme that I found, and it was definitely based on, kind of a military perspective. We're in the stuff. Nobody's coming. It's up to us. We got to fix this. But I feel like we are at war, and I feel like that's the case. We're all down here on the front lines, and it's like some of us we're waiting for somebody to step in and do the thing. We're waiting for somebody to come in and be like, all right, we've been working in the background. We figured it out. This is what it's going to take to fix it. Don't worry, we're here. And I've been around for a little while, and I don't think that's coming. I don't think anybody's coming. I think we're in it, and it's up to us, and it's up to people like you and me and, our listeners and people like Peter and a lot of the guests that we have on. It's up to us. And, like I said, I know it was heartbreak and pain that put Peter in the position that he's in. But without that, I know there's a lot of people that wouldn't be receiving the help and support that they're getting right now. And a lot of these are born out of pain. My company's born out of my pain. Yours is born out of yours. And same with Peter and a lot of these folks. And I applaud people like Peter for putting in the work. And I'm looking at all the different things that he's doing here. I mean, it's not just soup. The Soupman is not just soup, as he said in his thing. It's, he's got a food line coming out. It's backpack for backpack, made in America backpacks. You buy one, another one is sent to one of these people. Like it's, there's things in the backpack, socks. He was encouraging people to, to what can people do locally? What can other people do if they don't have money? If they can't, they are a nonprofit. If they can't make a donation or show up an event or something like that, what can they do? And he was like, just, if you got a pair of boots, donate them. If you got a winter jacket, donate it. It's these things are extremely, they're needed and they're useful.
Yeah. And we're going to have his website on our website and let everybody know where they can do that. And I think that's, sounds like a worthy cause, and he is so dedicated. So it's just nice to see somebody doing something with their heart like that.
Right. Well, and he was talking about loss. I mean, obviously losing a son. I believe he said his son was living up in Bangor, Maine, and back in 2016, and he passed away from, opiate overdose and was living homeless up there. And, I mean, aside from what he's doing and what you're doing and what I'm doing and what a lot of these, these individuals looking for ways to help are doing, there's still gaps. There's still people who are falling through the gaps. There's still a homeless population that is maybe not getting the right amount of services at the shelters they're going to. Yep. There's stigma around mental health, people that are struggling. There's stigmas around treatment for substance abuse. There's still a lot of gaps to be filled. And, one of them that I see is grief too. I meet a lot of parents who have experienced a lot of loss. Losing a child it's not something people get over. No. And there's a few different groups out there for people who've gone through that. I know GRASP is one of the ones around here that provides support, and there's some others. But it's
an organization actually that was associated with Magnolia, and they Cheryl Jaware broke off and created Team Sharing, and that's on Facebook. Okay. I think it's teamsharing.org, and they have face-to-face groups, but they have the same kind of groups that Magnolia has. These close support groups for anybody.
That's huge. I mean, that's a support that I know I can't give. I've never experienced that. You know, I wouldn't know how to console somebody other than to empathize and feel bad and have compassion. But, you know, it definitely is one of those things that you may feel alone. You may feel like nobody understands.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's, as I said before, it's amazing that, you know, Peter was able to take that pain and turn it into a passion to help others. But for some others, it's crippling. You know, like you said, he didn't curl up in a ball and let it defeat him. But for others, they may feel like it. You know, if they're listening and they've gone through a loss, I want to make sure they know that there are resources available and that they find them.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right. Well, it was very nice to have him on, and I look forward to hearing about all the wonderful things the Soupman does, and possibly even finding his product line at the store.
How awesome would that be?
That would be pretty cool. I love that. I think they referenced him as the new Paul Newman.
I love it.
In the article, I thought that was great.
Great.
Nice. All right. Well, it was very nice to have him on, and hopefully we'll get to hear from him again.
Sounds good.
All right. I would like to thank all of our listeners for joining us today on this episode of Collateral Damage. As always, if you'd like to find out all of the different ways that you can listen to and subscribe to our podcast, you can visit our website, which is www.cdpodcast.com. There are many different ways to listen, download, and subscribe, so we encourage you to choose the one that is most appropriate for you. And as always, we would encourage our listeners to get informed and stay connected. Thank you for joining us.